a non-black woman said something racial about you while you were in the throes of passion, and it was like, yeah, that would cause the train to stop on the tracks. What's up, family? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Thatbaldbrutha. Today we're going to be getting into another conversation on the Jubilee spectrum regarding interracial couples and their thoughts about racial preference. Let's get into it.
I have unintentionally been racist towards my partner.
So as usual, I'm going to jump in at first to give my thoughts about what the group's going to decide. I'm going to go with most of them are going to agree because of how we're brought up. I'm sure that it happens casually in error on occasion, and we have to be more cognizant about those things once you're in an interracial relationship. Let's see what they say. Exactly.
I've definitely been ignorant.
So we were we had an argument, and I was upset, and I had previously expressed how the stereotype or the stigma on angry black men or angry black women and how that makes me feel. And so we got into an argument. I was an angry black man. But in that moment of anger, he actually called me an angry black man, which
is like the worst thing.
Made me go crazy because that was like the one thing that I talked to him about. So that was a really bad fight, and it never happened again.
Right. I feel like, I'm strongly disagree, but I think as just a white person, I am just inherently ignorant. So I think I'm gonna move to somewhat agree.
I'm glad you're
Being a
honest with
black
yourself
man
about
has
that.
completely opened my eyes more than I already thought they were open,
To be fair, you've never said anything that made me feel like, damn, she's racist.
I'm from the Bay, so it used to be in my vocabulary where I would say the N-word with the A. I would rap it. I would do just those things, but my slang in general would just tick her off. And then I became conscious of it, and I really liked her, or I still do.
Nice save.
I started changing the way I speak. I feel like she should be over here too. She would do Asian accents.
Busted.
The only time that I feel like I could be offending Asian people is when I'm mocking you when you're mocking your mother.
There it is.
So I only do the accent when he does it, making fun of his mom. Before that, I never did that. So.
Sex gets steamy since you are interracial.
I think people tend to fetishize interracial relationships because they feel like that especially when it comes to intimacy, it's the whole thing of, I was looking at a couple weeks ago where someone was saying, would you be okay if a non-black woman called you the N-word or said something racial about you while you were in the throes of passion? And it was like, yeah, that would cause the train to stop on the tracks because it's like, wait a minute, where's this coming from? What's happening? So I'm going to assume they're going to say disagree because they probably doesn't. But I think that on the outside looking in, stereotypically, we think that it makes things spicy. Let's see.
I think it adds to
The differences between us.
Yeah, definitely. There's not like any weird role play or anything. But yeah, definitely, makes it fun.
I will say, like, when I'm not with you, people will be like, oh, like, I know why you're with the black guy. And it's like, that's like super disrespectful because it's like, that's like definitely like on the line of like fetishizing. Like,
right.
Exactly.
Race.
There's not many sexual stereotypes about white men. But like walking down the street, especially dating an Asian woman, like I get looks from men all the time. And like, oh, like, right? And like people
Yep.
actually like calling me out while I'm right next to her.
Interracial relationships can be a fetish, and that's okay if it's love too.
I don't agree with that. I think that's not a good idea to have fetish be the part of the reason why you're with somebody. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I don't think that's to be the driving force, and this makes it okay because you're not really genuinely there. You're only there because your interest is piqued. Oh, What? You better get over there with your
Even
girl.
if you love the person, you just fetishizing that person is
I feel like it
good at all.
devalues
Yeah,
it.
and you're devaluing the entire community in itself.
I think there's always room for growth. So I can understand if it starts as a fetish and then along, the relationship, they actually fall in love with that person and they realize that, okay, it wasn't okay for me to initially just like you based off of that.
If it's between two consenting adults, the freak stuff in the bedroom, if race sprinkles is put into that context, what do we think of that? Like, it's just in the bedroom, or is it like possible to just keep it in the bedroom?
How would race be put into the bedroom?
Use your
Oh,
imagination.
Jesus. Don't answer that
Doesn't even
question,
matter
brother.
If you're consenting or not, it's still wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Like you want to say that stuff, you want to do that stuff because of the stereotypes you have of those people.
Correct.
And that doesn't really sit right with me whatsoever.
I sometimes feel like I betrayed my own race.
So I'm going to say there's going to be a split, because I understand why some of them may feel that way, because some of the races will make you feel that way, but you may not feel that way personally. But I will say that the races will make you feel like you betrayed your own race. You know what I'm saying? You'll get those looks. I can speak from the black community. You will get some serious eye cutting if you come into the party with a woman who ain't black. They look at you like, whoa, look at this dude. What look at this over here, and you can get all kind of head shakings and all that. Good Lord, it's just nasty. But let's see what they do. Wow. So all the black folks went to one side, and all the how about that? How about
I
that?
definitely feel like that, man. I feel like, especially where I'm from, I did my people a disservice by playing into that stereotype. And knowing what I stand for now, it's hard for me to feel like I'm going to be taken serious in the future if I ever want to speak on controversial topics.
Yep.
My people won't respect what I say because, like, it doesn't add up, my views and stuff. And then I'm dating somebody outside of my race behind the scenes. I feel like I lose respect in a way.
Me growing up, like I was never always seen as black, whether it was because of how I looked or how I talked or my culture. But then when I get with someone who's not black, right, they're like, oh, you're betraying us. Oh, like I get
See?
comments literally in my DMs, they're like, oh, Alex, you're not with us no more, right?
See?
And I'm like, do you want me or do you not want me? It doesn't bother me if you don't want me, and I understand it is what it is, but don't pick and choose and don't nitpick little things, right? If you want me to be part of your community, then accept me for who I am. Don't say that because I'm half, I don't get to participate in certain topics or certain discussions.
I agree.
I feel like an outsider with my partner's family.
Oh, this is a good question. I'm going to say, it's going to be very telling because the couples are together. So now it's going to be like, oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, yeah. So families not accepting the other person in your other half, if they're not the same race, is a thing. And it still is a thing because families are old-fashioned. A lot of parents are old-fashioned. They want their kids to be with people of their kind. So I'm sure it's been a struggle for some of them to have to be accepted in the other person's family. But let's see. I'm going to say that they're mostly going to agree.
So I'm sorry, Grace. In our lives, especially today, recently, politics plays such a huge part in it. And because you come from a conservative household, that's different from where I come from. And it does make me a little bit uncomfortable to know that I'm gonna be meeting people and have to have close relationships with them, and they don't value what I feel like I value in my life.
He's actually the first black man I have ever dated and the only person of color within like my family just in of itself. And so certain members of my family with the same political values as us like had to kind of confide in me like, hey, we support you with whoever you date, like we're here for you. So it was interesting to kind of see the different sides of my family members that I didn't necessarily know.
When I met her father for the first time, we were walking to get food and we saw the Ronald Reagan Museum or something like that. And he's like, oh yeah, I love Ronald Reagan, right? And you can have your own personal opinions on presidents, but Ronald Reagan he's like the main reason why black people are incarcerated. He's not a very good person to black people. So I was just kind of cracking up about that, and I was kind of awkward, and I know you kind of bit your tongue on that as well.
It's hard to not say anything.
But I was thinking about saying something to maybe like be like, oh, I don't know about that, but I didn't want to like argue with your father on the very first day that I met him. Yeah, that wouldn't
Smart
be
idea.
fine.
Smart idea.
Yeah. I don't know if I can exactly truly connect with him because of that. He's a very nice person, obviously, and he makes me feel comfortable, but at the same time, I have to recognize who I am as a person.
I would say I somewhat agree because with my partner's family, there's a language barrier. So I guess it's my responsibility now to try to learn the language, but sometimes when we're together, they're talking, I have no idea what's going on. So I think that's a bit of why I feel like an outsider, but
They're talking about you. Just so you know that. Whenever that happens, they're talking about you. Not just saying you in particular, but anytime that happens in a situation where you're around people who speak a different language and they break into their language, they're talking about you.
other than that, I feel welcome.
I wish we were the same race.
I'm going to say it's another split. And the reason why is because I think that some of the guys are going to say that they wish they had met women with the same characteristics, same personalities that they have in this woman if she was black. And they wouldn't have to deal with all the headaches that go along with it that they've been discussing this whole time. I think that's going to be the reason why some of them wish that they had the same race as a couple. Okay.
I'll start. I feel like that would just be the default easiest way to navigate through life. But definitely,
That's good.
obviously, growth happens when you're in interrelational relationships. But yeah, that's kind of why I chose, or somewhat agree.
Yeah, I guess it, like you were saying, like I just feel like it would be easier in some aspects, and then for me, just like being mixed race, I have felt very like disconnected from my culture. So I feel like dating someone who was like Chilean or who was Korean would help me. But I also agree, like obviously, if you weren't white, you wouldn't be like you, and so I don't like wish that. And
The benefits outweigh like what I gain. It kind of sounds weird coming out because it's like, what do you guys get out of dating white people? Like, white people, I feel like we learn a lot.
I think it's interesting that everybody's saying that they feel it's easier, because I feel like it will be more difficult, me having a black man and raising a black family, that it would be more difficult if I was maybe with someone who was white, who could probably have benefits in other ways. I'm grateful for my husband, and I love being with him. And I think there's a lot of benefits just culturally.
That last question was really good. Shout out to Jubilee for another great video. Learning a lot from the spectrum, Jubilee. I hope you're listening. Keep it coming. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about the conversation. Do you agree with some of the answers they gave regarding interracial relationships? If you have any experiences, please feel free to share down below. As you walk out, don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you know anytime I post out new content. And if you have any suggestions for videos, please include that down in your comments as well. Until next time, be safe. Peace.